I just blanked out my Gmail,
Sure.
but everything else I'm fine if other people see. I have an online presence, so like I don't necessarily like I'm not too shy about it.
Okay. And just quickly give a brief for the chat. Give a brief introduction on yourself, and I mean, what
Okay.
jobs are you looking for and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So I'm a second year software engineering at McMaster University. It's a Canadian university,
Nice.
and I'm mainly looking for like software engineering PM roles. I'm really into design, so like I don't know, I have probably more hours on Figma than I do in actually developing some websites, but I like to be around the stack a lot. So you'll find that maybe after you look at my website that I do a good amount of like case studies on the projects that at least I display,
Nice.
and I commit a lot on GitHub. So that's kind of like more about me, but yeah, I'm
Yo,
mainly looking for like design related roles.
no, that's really good. I think I'm echoing a little bit, but you're a second year student. Are you based in the U.S. or Canada?
I'm based in Canada.
Nice. All the Canadians
Um,
are. I'm Canadian myself, and the last person that came in here was from Victoria. So lots of Canadians.
I just wanted to mention that that last person reminded me a lot about myself.
that
Like that, you'll see like the same like founder of like a web
I
development
love
agency.
that. Okay, where did you send it? Y'all, these Canadians
Yeah,
are have the best resumes that I've seen so far. How did the two Canadians have the best resumes? And I've been reviewing all types of resumes. Okay, you
it
said you're the
should
one,
be.
the sophomore, 940.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm popping this open. I'm requesting access. Y'all
yeah.
ready for
Okay,
this guy's resume? Canadians are built different.
okay. You should be in.
Who's on the line? Markel's asking who on the line is. Okay, let me download this real quick. Downloading it so we can properly show it up. So you're a second year student. You're looking for PM roles.
Yeah,
Wow, this is already looking really good. The Canadian job market forcing them to be built different.
yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's tough. Okay, nice resume. I'm already liking. I'm liking it. Do you use LaTeX?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Overview text.
okay. So Hamilton, Ontario. Have your name there. Really strong GPA. It's talking about your selected courses, your education. So selected coursework, algorithms, computer science, data structures. You're in your second year. You already took in these courses.
Well, I'm taking data structures right now. OOP I took last semester. Operating systems I have like a little bit of background in, but computer architecture I've also taken last semester. The thing is with like DSA, I've been doing DSA probably since like first year. So like I have like not a super crazy background to it, but I think it's strong enough that when like I'm practicing for my interviews, I'm not like afraid of DSA, and I do like mock interviews with my friends here and there.
Nice, dude. You're a legend. You're setting yourself up for success. Honestly, when I was in, is sophomore second year or third year?
Second year.
In second year, I was not even thinking about that. So the fact that you're already thinking about that, you're gonna be able to crack into. What are your goals? Do you want to work
Um,
in the Bay Area? Do you want to stay in Canada? Do you want to be a more software engineer? Do you want to start your own company? Just curious.
yeah. So, uh, good question. I have been down to San Francisco before.
Hmm.
I visited last summer for this program called Build Space. So I was in the Marina District, and it was an amazing experience. It really kind of like brought me more towards moving to the States, which I already wanted to do.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's my goal is to kind of like move down there, at least to work for a startup to learn, or at the very least, you know, if I make enough headway in my future, then move down there to be able to start to actually have my own startup down there.
Wow. We have chat. We have two people who came in and they want to start their own startup in the Bay Area. That is crazy. I mean, you're setting yourself up for success. I'm actually getting really motivated just watching y'all. Like, how young are you? 19, 20?
19, yeah.
Wow. That's actually crazy. Okay, let's just. And you could ask me anything because I did that too. When I graduated, I moved down here. So if you want to ask questions on
Yeah.
pretty much my journey too. And
So
if you need any advice on that, but let's focus on your resume quick, and probably at the end, if you want to get any advice on that specific stuff, we can handle that. But
okay, I'll do it.
cool, you're a product manager intern. This
Yeah.
is okay. Deployed a scalable education platform and content management system using AWS, EC2, Kubernetes, Docker, and reducing setup time with a team of 5 to optimize backend architecture. I would say this is a really good bullet point because it's results oriented and you highlight a bunch of the different metrics and things, but you almost mix in two different bullet points into one. Because
Right.
I thought it would end here, but then it mentioned while collaborating with a team of 5 to optimize the backend architecture. That could probably be a whole different bullet point of optimized the backend architecture with a team of 5 to drive X results, something like that. Joshua, I'll send me your resume as well. Adam's like imposter syndrome max right now. Honestly, when you see people who are doing really crazy things, especially first year, second year, even when you're looking at ultra successful people, I have a video on this as well, but don't compare yourself to take what you can learn from these people and use it as fuel for what you have going on, and only compare yourself to where you were a year ago. That's kind of how I do it, because when you move to the Bay Area as well, you're gonna see people doing so much crazy things, and if you use it in the wrong way, it will just more hinder you than help you grow. And I think that's kind of a shame, because when you see people like Shadi here who has all this great experience, you should try to figure out how you could do some of these things, or pick things from the different projects that he's worked on as well, and see how that you can use that as well. This is it's just helpful to look at that way. But let's look at your website. I actually want to get into that first, actually. Can you walk me through your website?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it's really like I made it in HTML, CSS,
Nice.
little bit JavaScript, and yeah, it's just like this is my second or I think third iteration of this website. I think I have my first iteration at the bottom
Wow.
of the website, and
This is
I just
nice.
redesigned what the current what the old version of it looks like. So now I find that it's better to make this as simple as possible, because having I used to have a blog on my website too. I
Nice.
removed that because I find that when employers or recruiters want to visit what I'm doing, I just want them to see my work and my design, and then find whatever they are interested in looking at more, and then just go down that path.
I see. And you hosted this one on GitHub too, I see.
Yeah,
Nice. So just raw HTML, CSS. for
that
this?
was the old one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's still, for raw HTML and CSS, it's dynamic enough. It looks really good. So let's see. So you have these are all the different projects you have, and these include school projects, or some of them are some other ventures that you had outside of school?
The older ones, I have them listed down as McMaster. So my university name is branded kind of on the banner, and those ones are my school projects. But other than that, I usually specify either it was a startup, or if it's unnamed, then it's just a project I worked on.
Nice. Okay, cool. This is a really nice website, and as I mentioned before, and I'll mention this again, that I think portfolio websites can really help you get a job. If you're out there right now and you don't have a portfolio website, what I did when I was a new grad is I just built. I was in the middle of school. I didn't have time to build my own website, and plus, I don't even know if I could have built as good as a website as you right here. This is already really a nice website, especially for a second year. But if you can't have time to build your website, just use Wix or something to build your website. Obviously, I would prefer to have just built it myself, because you learn so much concepts by doing this. But yeah, this is a really good. What technologies did you use to build this website?
Yeah, so I initially started off with just pure HTML and CSS, and then after a while, after creating a few more projects later down the line, I started to really love Tailwind.
Mhm.
So I recreated this. When I went back to go recreate it, I used Tailwind CSS,
Nice.
yeah, with HTML to do it.
Nice. This is beautiful. Do you are you familiar with JavaScript or other JavaScript
Yeah,
frameworks like React?
I've gotten more acquainted to sort of like more JavaScript frameworks that are used to build websites, like React and Svelte. I used Svelte in one of the projects listed on my resume
Mhm.
because I wanted to kind of test out, see what all the hype was about. But now I've been kind of leaning more in towards like the T3 stack using like Next.js and React.
Nice. This is crazy for a second year resume. So Vercel, TypeScript, JavaScript. Nice. Cool. And okay, let's look quickly here. Where are your programming languages listed? Oh, down here.
It is at the
Okay.
bottom. At the bottom.
See, this is nice. I think I like the way you did it here, because the other candidate kind of had everything kind of bundled. But I think this is what I was thinking when I was giving the advice of kind of partitioning it better. So you have all your languages at the top, then different frameworks like React, Vercel, Django, Express, then different developer tools like Git, Firebase, AWS, and then finally different specific libraries like 3JS, Bootstrap. This is really good resume. I think. Why did you keep it at the bottom?
Yeah, so the way that this is kind of sorted is based off. You actually mentioned this in like another video. It was
Hmm.
like Google kind of like template for how a resume should be sorted.
Yeah.
And since I'm still in school, although like I would say like I do have some industry experience, I don't think I have enough to like put my skills at the top. I would much rather them look at me as a student
Mm.
in this context because I feel like it would no, I mean, relative to like other students, I would say it's nice to have the experience there and then look at my projects.
Yeah, I agree. No, this is really good. I was just wondering if maybe we can take the technical skills and throw it at the top. So technical skills, education, then experience, because then they just see right away that what you know. I would just experiment it. I think Google might have said to keep it at the top. I would look at, but what I do in my resume is I put mine at the very top. What do others do in the chat? I put mine at the very top because as a recruiter, yeah, my everyone's people are saying top. One said bottom. So yeah, a bunch of people are saying top. Okay, Liko Hart said bottom. I don't know. I would ask. I actually don't know about this one. Tech skills. I usually throw it at the top. Yeah. Okay, one person said PHP is not a library, so move it out. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, PHP would be more like a language, I would say. Cool. No, this is a solid resume. What's your favorite project that you've worked on?
Definitely would have to be HLDR because that one was it was like a double project. It's like open source right now, and it had two major iterations. The first one, I made that project kind of the precursor to is like I think like junior devs get crushed because they rely too much on GPT, and there's really nothing that kind of puts a barrier between them and instantly prompting. So I thought that like I should make something that kind of reduces that reliance. So I built HLDR initially with like GitHub code spaces, and I realized really fast that no one was using it. As like I looked at like my backend like server and I saw that there was like no requests going to it.
Mhm.
And so then I decided, you know what, I should probably remake this and then might as well just open source it because I had already had such like a long project timeline for it.
Mhm.
And on the second iteration, it's more like what it is described as, which is like an open source AI driven code mentor.
Mhm.
So it sits in like VS Code, which I used like NeoVim and Vim, but VS Code
Wow.
is very popular.
Second year using
But
Neo, Vim, and Vim. W's in the chat. Throw W's in the chat. That's crazy. Only a lot
um,
of the most experienced people use Neo. I don't even really use Neo Vim in chat. But continue. Sorry, I had to cut you off because Neo Vim is a big buzzword right now.
yeah, so like it sits like it's like an extension. You can install it in VS Code,
Yeah.
and it just sits and it waits for when you save a file and gives you like reviews. It's really useful in my opinion for like DSA because it'll like let you know if you're using a less optimized solution.
Nice. No, this is a really good resume. I think developed definitely. I think just adding some more results here. Develop intern. I think no. I think it's fine because you're also talking about this is very results oriented here because you're driving revenue.
Yeah.
No, this is really how much AI do you use these days? I'm just curious because you're one of the new age engineers.
Yeah. So I would say for example, I'll tell you like right now, for that PM role, I'm working on like organizing files, for example.
Mm.
And because I also have studies, I find that AI is really useless for anything that you don't spend a lot of time prompting it with. Like if you don't, and I know this is kind of a funny word, but if you don't like engineer the prompt,
Mm.
it's incredibly useless as your project gets more complex. And as soon as you start throwing in like file paths into the mix, it has no idea what to do.
Yeah.
So I would say that like maybe in the week, I probably like other than school for sure, I probably use it like for development maybe 2 or 3 times. And it's most of the time it's because I want to see if there's like better technologies out there or like better packages that could maybe like expedite how fast I'm approaching a project.
Wow.
But I end up having to learn the hard way regardless.
What's happening here, Hashan? Or that's crazy. So you mentioned you did case studies. Could you walk me through where that one of those is? I'm curious now on that.
Yeah, you could just click right on HLDR V2.
Oh, wait, HLDR. Dude, I like this. So you talk about the timeline, you talk about the tools, cause dude, this is really good because like I remember I mentioned to that other guy to list out a bunch of the different things related to his project. You're doing literally just that. This might be the best portfolio website that I've seen in a while to see. So overview. RightQ is saying they're scared. Like I said, don't compare yourself. Look at what he's doing and adopt. An AI-driven coding mentor designed to enhance programming skills by providing guidance without directly supplying answers. So you built this integrated straight into your terminal. It reduces the back and forth of utilizing. So you lead code crack. Can you review the resume? So we have lead code hard in this chat and lead code cracked. What's going on? This is hilarious. So you have you don't use the API. You kind of are running the model locally on your computer here.
So you're looking at the V1 version of HLDR. There's the V2 version, which is also on like the main page. Yeah, so just at the top left. That's the yeah.
This is really good.
So it's like I still have the same overview of it because it's accomplishing the same thing.
Yeah.
But right now, what happens is like on save of a file, it sends the request. Like I have a debounce function so that it doesn't just like completely
Spam.
Like, the request.
Yeah.
But right now I use like Gemini API's completions to do it.
Dude, I'm gonna check out this. So what it does is it helps you. So it's pretty much you're gonna be solving a lead code question or algorithm question. It's gonna be giving you advice, but basically it's like an interviewer giving you hints on your on your algorithm without giving you the result. Wow, no, that's actually very, very useful. That's actually very, very useful. No, I'm gonna try this out at some point. I'll try it out for one of my videos and give you a. Yeah, I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna try using it live on one of my videos. This is really good.
I appreciate it.
So you're talking about the origin, the implementation, all the different features. This is crazy. So let me grab my other notes. Or so you decided to use this tech stack, or these different tools? Did you consider other alternatives to these tools and technologies?
Yeah, for sure. So Initially, I'll kind of walk through the kind of timeline of this project. Initially, I didn't even want to take this to a full-fledged VS Code extension, for a couple reasons. You have to you have to abide by, VS Code Marketplace in the first place, which is a whole other process in and of itself. And you have to kind of set up your packages so that it's lightweight, and then also you have to kind of sift through all your code, make sure there's nothing more than what needs to be deployed. And at the initial kind of initial point of this project, the V1 version, I just didn't find that was worth, releasing. I kind of wanted to just kind of finish this up, get it wrapped up, drop the LinkedIn post, and move on with my life. But then I thought, in this last winter break, that it would be nice to go back to the project and, give it a revamp. So to answer your question, this didn't start off as a VS Code extension. It started off as something that you could boot up with GitHub Codespaces, and then edit in there. And I realized that over time, not only myself, I found it difficult to separate my own developed environment, which is just VS Code. I already have it configured with all my extensions, and I would have to separate that to just use this extension. So I thought that making this a little bit, adding a few more layers to this with the VS Code extension would be not only better for the project, but also more useful for the end user.
Wow, no, that's really good. Did you consider other languages besides? So I'm assuming you use Python and Fast API for the backend. Did you consider any other technologies for the backend there?
Well, at the time, I'm most familiar with Python and utilizing Fast API with almost all my projects. I find that Fast API gets the job done for me, and I can usually write my best code with that.
Nice.
At the current moment, I haven't thought to introduce more backend related kind of programs or processes into my tech stack. And the main reason for that is because I find that although switching up is useful and altering my tech stack would be nice, right now I don't think Fast API is really out of market, and I find that I would rather develop harder, more complex projects with what I know than keep switching out my tech stack just to be the most popular, more favorable in the market. When I could make more complex stuff, more stuff that I'm interested in. Right?
Yeah, I see. So you're kind of trading off, okay, I'm going to work on this harder problem and use something I already know, but instead of, because if you were to switch up your language, then you can't work on that something much harder because, you have to learn the language too. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Paul's like, if this guy can't land how are you with getting a job? Somebody just asked in the chat. Are you able to land interviews?
Yeah, so right now, I'll be completely transparent with, the chat and you yourself. I have around three, 4 companies, mainly 3 right now, that I'm kind of been in talking with for some time. One of them would be a startup in my hometown, so in Hamilton, and that would be kind of working at the intersection of cybersecurity and AI. And the other would be in a startup in New York, which is the one I'm really gunning for right now. And that would be 16 months for a co-op, which would call 16 months. And then the one in Hamilton would be 4 months, and the last one that I haven't mentioned yet would be at an international company I would be doing no code kind of solutions, just automation, and that would be for 12 months long.
Wow. No, I see. That's crazy. So how long did it take you to build out this website?
This website, I think this was I think this took me from design to implementation somewhere in the realm of 3 or 4 days.
Wow. That's crazy. So did you just grind it out or you just put 8-hour shift each day and this is what it came out with?
Yeah, well, the thing is because this was a previous website, and the technical case studies, I can't just GPT that and then toss it in there. I have to reformat it and make sure that everything is the way that I want it to be. That's what kind of drew it out to be more than just I don't know, a couple days at a time. But yeah, I think that over time, what it was just like every day I would take like a different kind of project that I worked on, and then just start doing a case study for that. And I think as it stands, there's only like good case studies for like HLDR V2 and
Mhm.
then Kareem, which are the ones I have for my resume.
Nice. Cool. No, this is. Let's see. Are these mostly images?
So they're images, but like you can click on them. You can click on
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah. The one thing that I was thinking is for SEO purposes. Sometimes it's nice to have the project name that's not part of the image, because I think
Yeah,
when I was looking here, it's hard to find what the name of the project was.
gotcha.
But that's probably a nit because it looks good the way it is. But that's just one thing I would consider would be like the SEO or being able to figure out where the name of the project is. But when you do hover, it does show. No, this is thing lagged. Wait, give me a sec. Are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Kick me out of your website. See if the stream is still on. Okay. Yeah, this is a really good website. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. One question, and I kind of like, I've seen like some of your past videos where you kind of like suggest that people include links to their websites, sorry, to their their projects.
Mhm.
And this version that I sent you is like an altered version where I heard sort of like an opposite opinion to that, which is once my resume kind of hits HR's desk via like a portal of some kind, the resumes that I have embedded in there aren't actually clickable by them. And sometimes they actually mess up like the ATS parsing. And
Really?
so I thought that like right now they're removed, but there used to be like an icon and it used to be like a clickable to go straight to that link. And I was just wondering like, have you yeah, I know you're not like an HR person, you're
Yeah.
not like a recruiter yourself, but have you ever heard of something like that?
Lico Hart saying that's not true. I've never heard of anything like that, but I have a cousin who recruits at in the portal I've used. They work. Yeah, honestly, in all the portals that I used, a lot of the software is smart enough to pull out all the links and provide you all the links there. I've never seen that, and most of the time when I'm doing interviews, I'm looking at the raw resume. Whatever resume that you sent me, I'm looking at it through some PDF viewer. So if I'm using whatever, like Greenhouse or Lever, it shows me the resume that you submitted, the PDF, and I could usually just click it. So I've never seen that, I've heard that before. And RightQ says I've heard recruiters say they hate bold words religiously. I don't know. I think I like bold word. I like when people bold words because it helps point out things for me to look at. But I'm also not a recruiter, so we'd have to get advice from a recruiter. You heard that from a recruiter? Sorry, you might have cut out.
Oh, sorry. The person that told me that was he was a founder of like a company. This was at a hackathon, a recent hackathon I went to.
I see.
And he told me that this was a change that I suggest that you make because he's looked and he's hired for his company a bunch. So
I
that's
see.
what he's like.
Okay.
You said that from experience.
Okay, I'm gonna get a recruiter. I'm gonna get a recruiter on this thing ASAP to look at all these resumes. I'm gonna take some of the best ones and I'm gonna do a video I'll have a recruiter. I know a few recruiters, and yeah, we can figure that out for you straight on a video. What about any questions? Thanks, AA. But what about any questions related to? You said you want to break into Silicon Valley. I'm sure you'll get there at some point. But is there any questions do you have specifically of Silicon Valley?
Yeah. I would say okay. So one question, and I'm gonna give a little context to where this is coming from. A little while ago, I think you released a video on like how you kind of broke into it.
Yeah.
And it was you mentioned your Kleiner Perkins like OA or like how you kind of went through that process. And I find that like right now, although I am covering DSA and I'm doing my best at trying to break into at least America, the long term kind of goal here is I want to have at least that 16-month internship in America, and then be able to either go back or explore the area and kind of continue to keep myself in the States. And I would ask you, like, for Kleiner Perkins,
Mhm.
I did the OA, I recorded the video, and I did like the hacker rank for it. And like as of now, I don't know like graphs, I don't know binary trees, I know like linked lists and below.
Mhm.
And would you say that, like, at least in my position, should I just stick with the kind of main companies I got, that I'm in talks with right now, or continue to kind of like explore those larger companies like Shopify or like Simple, for example, even though I don't necessarily feel like I'm in a position to take on the OAs for them?
Let me think. Your resume is so good that I would shoot it. I First off, I wouldn't suggest a 16-month internship, and I'm pretty sure I know some other people in the chat would also agree, because I went to school with them. Drop in the chat why you should or shouldn't take a 16-month internship. I did one myself, and I feel like you should do. Paul definitely agrees. I would probably do 4. Yeah, plus 1. Diversify. I would, if I were you, instead of taking one 16-month internship, take 4 4-month internships. Exactly. Everyone's saying definitely wouldn't recommend. Try as many. Murtizi, what's up? Yeah, everyone's saying he did a 16-month. I did a 16-month, and I was gonna interrupt you earlier, but don't make that mistake. Committing that long to one company is for a student is not a good idea. I would say just keep shooting your shot. Are you trying to land interviews, or try to get a 4-month internship every single summer?
I see the leverage point of that, and I see the diversification for sure. But I think at least where I'm at technically right now, what I know and what's like feasible for me, I'm not sure I can put myself in a position where there would be a company that would be willing to take me on for 4 months in the States. And the States is huge for me right now. So that's why like that 16-month co-op in the States is like super appealing for me, because even though I understand that there's not a whole bunch of diversification that can go on there, it's a startup, and like they've kind of talked to me about what they're looking to do with it. And I find that if there's any place that I'm going to grow and like work with amazing engineers at,
Yeah.
it's going to be at a startup in the States.
So it's a New York startup.
Yeah.
Is it funded?
Yeah, like I think they told me, and I know this may not sound the best, but like they are, I believe, Series A, or close to Series B where they're at right now.
No, I think it's a really good opportunity. I'm just surprised that they want you to come on for 16 months. Are they even able to do that? I would just make sure, what visa are you looking to get that's gonna...
They said that they would probably give me like a TN.
TN visa. See, like, you need a degree to get a TN visa.
Gotcha.
So it's already sounds I think they don't know much about, or he says I don't think so. Wait, 16. Lico Hard, do you need a TN visa? Oh wait. You need a degree for a TN visa, I'm pretty sure about that. Let me see.
I told them that like I believe a J1 is the easiest. Granted, the person I was talking to at the time was more like the technical person. And he was kind of like, I was conducting the behavioral with that startup, and they said TN would be the easiest thing. I didn't complain because from what I know, TN is harder to get.
Proof of, yeah. I remember when I was applying for my TN, they needed my degree really bad. They wanted, but maybe it works. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay, maybe, yeah. I'm just surprised they wanted you to work that long for 16 months. But if it's at a Series A startup, they're funded. Do you know who their investors are? Are they like well-known investors?
I don't know their investors right now. I can drop like some numbers because I don't think they're really like, I'm not going to share the name of the company, but I don't think they really care that much.
Yeah.
So like off the call that I got off the guy within the past week, he told me that they recently had some more, like they had some more investments recently, which was like he told me like between half a mil to a mil, and they said they had like a right now they're at like a retreat in like Morocco. So like I don't think and it's like a seven dev startup.
Off a half a
Like
mil, you said they raised 500K to $1 million, and they're in Morocco
yeah,
with it. That is crazy. Let's see. Let me think about it. Yeah, because that's not Series A companies use. If they raise Series A, that's I wonder. Usually they'll raise a lot more money for that. Then I would say half a million. I would be nervous if someone told me that their company only raised half a million to a million. Because yeah, what Lee Code Hard is saying, mostly that's pre-seed. Pre-seed you'll raise even half a million is very low investment for a pre-seed company. Usually it's in, usually it's pre-seed is 1 to 5 million, but when you start getting to Series A, it's 10 million plus when it comes to investment. So the only reason why I'm mentioning that is I would be worried if they'll be able to pay me. If I have 7 engineers and I'm paying each 100K, I wouldn't even be able to sustain that company for a year if I only raised 500K to $1 million. If you know what I
yeah,
mean.
that's one thing I'm worried about as well. I'm not gonna lie because if I said that I'd be willing to go like to the states to work for them, but like I calculated how much I know rent is in the states is
It
expensive,
is.
especially in New York,
Yeah.
especially like living.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna have to see what they want to compensate me for, and I really hope that it's reasonable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that like if they were pre-seed or still like seed, um, would you suggest to go with this opportunity if things go through all right?
Yeah. I really am a big fan of working early stage startup. I didn't. The company I joined when I first graduated was early Series B. So I never joined a seed or Series A company yet. But there's a lot of risk involved when you join such an early startup. But that risk is better to take on when you're younger, I would say, or obviously not when you have a family and stuff like that. Or if I think when you're younger, the different pretend you just join a startup straight out of graduation, the opportunity cost for how much money you can make is very similar to, or basically you'll be making almost the same as somebody who's working at one of the bigger companies, so you don't have to worry about that much. But when you're 6 or 7 years of experience, a senior software engineer at a fan company is going to make way more than most of the startups. So it would you'd probably want to take that startup less. So if you
Yeah.
want to work at a startup, probably try to do it when you're younger, because I mean, yeah, when you're a senior software engineer, you join a startup, you're a lot of times you're gonna be paid way less. So I think it's a good opportunity. I would just make sure that they're setting you up for success there, which is okay. They know what visas they're gonna give you. They're gonna give you enough money so that you could actually live there, and they're not just not gonna fire you within the next few weeks because
Yeah.
they run out of money. So that's things I would worry about and look for as well. That's the one risk, but yeah, I think it's a good opportunity. But also diversify where you're applying for. Also apply for some of the big tech companies like the fan companies. I'm sure they'll like your resume, and I don't think they'll ask you that hard of a lead code question. They'll probably ask you medium questions, but
Yeah.
lower end of the medium questions.
Um, One last kind of note would be, and this is, I guess, somewhat of like a like relatively opinionated question too, but what would you kind of think would be like a rough figure for what I should be expecting to hear from them compensation wise? Like,
Compensation wise, yeah.
yeah, I think that's going to be really important because I already did my technical take home for them, and then the next kind of like the series that's gonna follow the series of events would be like I'm gonna get on call with sort of the first kind of manager I talked to, and then one of their tech leads, and we're just gonna run through all the code that I wrote, and they're gonna ask me a bunch of questions and possibly some DSA, and after that, I'll have another kind of follow up, and then that'll be more so talking about kind of like next step visas and compensation. And I'm just wondering, like, for that next one, because this would be like one of my first kind of I don't want to say real like software engineering positions because I already have my current one, but one of the more substantial ones, especially being in the States. Like, what should I expect?
What should you expect? Yeah. And this is a 16-month internship. Let's just assume, to just do the math easier, that you're going to stay there for a year. Because if you have to stay there for less than a year, that adds complications because a lot of people won't want to. You have to usually pay a premium if your rent is not going to be 12 months, right?
Yeah.
So let's just assume you're going to be doing a 12-month lease. Rent prices in New York are wild, so you're probably gonna have to find a roommate. So let's say you budget around $1,500 a month, right? Let's say, I can review. I might have to clock after this. I can review everyone's resume on the next one, but essentially, pretend your place to stay is $1,500 a month. If the company is gonna pay you $125,000 a year after taxes and everything, that's already a lot of money. 125 for an intern. Yo, chat, how much people are getting paid for internships these days? I know new grads are around 100 to 125. 100 to 125 base salary for new grads, and obviously you get the stock compensation. But one thing that I would say is the company going to help you finding a place and also sponsoring it?
Good question.
Because
Honestly,
and let me prefix or say this, like all the interns that I know that move to the Bay Area just for an internship, they usually get a stipend for their houses. So if you work at Snowflake, they'll pay you like half of whatever rent you choose. Most places will subsidize your housing. So the one thing about startup is you might not know if they'll subsidize your housing, and that might be, you might not be able to live there if they don't subsidize your housing.
gotcha.
So you should ask them, are they going to help you relocate? Are they going to help you subsidize your housing? If that's none of that case, then you'll probably need to make over $100,000 to sustain yourself in New York.
For that year.
Yeah, I would say 125 is comfortable. Let's see. I don't think. Okay, Lico's saying 100 is not. Is you don't need that much. Lico Hart, how much are you thinking? Because I know he also has experience moving around these places. If you're willing to spend all your earning, it's a lot lower. If you want.
I live like such a broke
Lico
lifestyle.
Hart, how much do people pay interns for these startups or big companies? Damn, already forgot. I feel like someone told me it'd be like 6, 7. What Advid saying? 7,000, 8,000 a month. That's already way too much. That's already similar to a new grad salary. Oh, Amazon paid that? Okay, so I would say LeetCode cracks the 30 an hour. No, I doubt that. Not for New York and Bay Area. I would say you're probably gonna get 30 to 40. Okay, so you would expect $30 to $40 an hour. 30. Okay, let's see. 30 to 40. 30. Let's go on the high side. $40. Let's do some quick math. Yearly salary. So you make that's 83 grand. And then let's just do basic tax calculator. Right? We'll say that you live in New York City.
Yeah, I think the company is based like around, like it's Manhattan, Broadway is like headquarters.
So you're gonna take home about $59,000 that year. And these are the same websites and math that I always run on myself, especially when I moved here, when I was trying to figure out how to do. I was using the exact same websites. So let's say you're gonna pay $1,500 in rent, and you times that by 12 months. So we take 59K. Okay, let's say right there you're at 40K left. How much do people pay for housing, or how much? I think you're good with $40 an hour, but that's on the high end. Say they do $30 an hour, 62. Oh, that makes a big difference. On 62, I doubt you'll be able to live really comfortable there.
62. I've heard that rent is like between 2 to 3K.
Yeah.
Granted, the people that I asked were like Bloomberg interns this summer.
Yeah, they're probably staying at somewhere fancy. But 47K, pretend, okay, let's say you're paying $2,000. That's about 24K. That's already half your thing. But at the end of the day, all you need to do is stay afloat. It's not like you're there to get rich after internship. You're there to experience stuff. So if I did that experience and I came out with $0, but I got the experience to work at a Series A startup, I think that's already an overall win. I don't know.
Would you do it if it was pre-seed or seed?
Yeah, I would do it. But I was trying to get into pre-seed, seed, and Series A companies when I was graduating too. But a lot of them didn't want to sponsor a visa. A lot of them said, "Oh, we don't do." A lot. If you start looking at a lot of them, they say that they don't sponsor visas. But I'm happy you found one that can sponsor a visa.
Yeah, I've been like the reason you guys have been saying, kind of popping here and there with like, this kind of doesn't seem like a real offer. And honestly, like I'm not that I want to like question them or the people. I got kind of this position from like, not really from knowing anyone, but from like just kind of being extroverted at school, which has helped me kind of along the way, even though I'm not a really extroverted person.
Yeah.
And I found that like after talking to these people who have previously interned there, they seem reliable and trustable. So like it'll be kind of like a shock to me if this goes through, because I know I've been like working as hard as I can to like achieve something like this or SF similar. But yeah, I appreciate you guys' lookout for me.
No, this is good, and you're only in your second year. In my second year, I only started thinking about Silicon Valley or SF or whatever when I was about like a year before I was about to graduate, or maybe a year and a half. So the fact that you're already kind of know where you want to go, just keep working towards it. Definitely, if you want to break into Silicon Valley and work at a startup, they're gonna ask you lead code questions. So touch up on that. It's nice that you're already working on it, but just keep expanding into the other data structures like trees and graphs, and just getting better and being able to do mediums and stuff. But I think you're on a good path. I wouldn't take a 16-month internship, but if it's but we can talk about it more. If you could send me details away from the live stream, that I can help probably screen it for you. But I think overall, yeah, you should try to get as many jobs as you can, or try to do as many internships as you can. And it's still January, so shoot your shot at a bunch of companies, because a bunch of companies are just starting to, like, there's still a lot of openings there, and you could probably land one of them because you have a really good resume. I think just don't sell yourself too short. You got to take a chance, because you already did all the work to build this great resume. Don't just take the first thing that comes to you. And this is probably not the first thing that comes to you. I'm sure there's other things that you could have taken as well. But I feel like keep applying as well. Leave the door open, because it's still early in the recruiting season. And I'm sure with your resume and background and all of the things you already know, you can land a really good job if you just keep going.
Will do, hopefully, and I'll definitely follow up with you.
Yeah.
And
sounds good. All right. Message me.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for joining in. I'll catch you. Keep in touch.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.